I smoked cigarettes for 18 years. There were a couple of times in there when I quit for a few months or tried to quit, which obviously never involves trying quite hard enough. But I mostly smoked up a gale force storm from when I started at 13 until I quit at 31. Several of those years were at 3 packs a day, and a couple of them were at 4. I even had my 5-pack nights at the height of my game. I was lighting them so fast that I often forgot about the one I was already smoking and lit another. When I played with my band, I usually had one in my mouth, one tucked in between the strings and the headstock of my guitar, and one in the ashtray sitting on my amplifier. I loved having all these cigarettes around me because they were such fabulously transferable symbols. You could associate them with anything you wished, and then once the association was made, they would construct these mutually beneficial reflexive relationships wherein the cigarette would enhance your enjoyment of the thing, and the thing would thereafter enhance your enjoyment of the cigarette. It was a really nifty trick for injecting pleasure into any part of the day that might require some. Suddenly, things like the cigarette after finishing a poem, or the cigarette when coming out of a movie, became cinematic moments to be relished and romanticized. Of course, through all of this, I was also becoming addicted to the little devils, convincing myself with their help that they tasted good, that they looked cool, that I actually needed them for multiple acts and occasions. I steadily built the notion of quitting into a daunting mythological task, like Sisyphus with a lighter. I would roll back to 10 cigarettes a day, then 5, then 8, then 12. And by the time I was 31, I was back up over 3 packs a day again with no particular interest in stopping. But my health took a turn off the map and finally managed to get my attention. I started getting winded when I would walk upstairs. In the mornings, I would hack and wheeze, often coughing until I threw up. I gained weight from lack of exercise. My voice deteriorated to the point where I couldn't hit the notes in my own damn songs anymore. I saw a couple of doctors who said, of course, that they couldn't do anything about my symptoms unless I would quit smoking. I developed the constant sensation of having something in my throat, which regularly triggered my gag reflex. One day, on an otherwise lovely Parisian street corner, a coughing, gagging attack sent me sprawling to my knees, heaving chunks of gray sludge and blood into the gutter. An elderly woman looked on in horror, clearly imagining that I was closer to death than she was. It wasn't the first time that had happened to me, but it was, for whatever reason, the time that made me quit smoking. I got up from the ground, threw away my cigarette, which I'd been holding throughout the attack, and haven't smoked another one since. And that was 5 years ago today as I write this. I knew it would be harder to quit if I told myself that it was forever, so I told myself I'd quit for 10 years. I had read somewhere that 10 years was long enough to reverse the physical damage that smoking had done. Yes, I figured that might be a bullshit arbitrary number, but a bullshit arbitrary number was just what I needed right then, so I went with it. And now that I'm halfway there, it's hard to imagine why I'd ever want to smoke again at all, but my 5-year anniversary seems like a fun enough time to try, so here goes. I'm on a beach. No, I'm not exactly on the beach. Oh, let's really do this right. I'm about 90 yards inland from a rocky beach on a wooden deck, 2 stories up with a panoramic coastal view. It's just after 9 p.m. in the autumn, chilly but not cold. There's a hot tub bubbling away on the deck to my right, but I'm not using it tonight. I'm stretched out on a grayish, slatted, distressed teak chaise lounge with an upright wine barrel serving as a little table on my left. A few vines are growing up the barrel from the greenery that's invading that whole side of the deck. I'm barefoot, wearing thin cotton beige painter's pants rolled up above the ankle, a beat-up old brown leather belt with a silver buckle, no underwear, and a creamy oatmeal zip-neck pullover with lots of little navy blue flecks in the weave. My hair has been cut recently, but is much grayer now. I'm around 46 or 47. I've just come outside after eating dinner with Sophia, a South American art student who hangs out here sometimes and uses my wife's studio. My wife is away for the week shooting a photo project in Russia, but she is very close with Sophia and doesn't mind that we occasionally have sex with each other when she's not around. Sophia has a freckled olive face with dark, evasive eyes and a huge, wickedly childish smile. She laughs a lot. She doesn't love me, but we have enough fun when we're together. Dinner was a roasted pork loin on a bed of fresh baby spinach with a cinnamon cranberry reduction, rosemary red potatoes, and green beans sautéed with garlic and shallots. During the meal, we got, 2/3 of the way through a peppery 2004 Languedoc. I washed the dishes, looking out the window at the moon hovering over the sea, while Sophia put a crackling old jazz record on the turntable at a gentle volume. Then I poured 2 fingers of good cherry brandy into one of my grandfather's thick crystal snifters and came out here to get some fresh air. I take a sip of the brandy and set it down on the little barrel table. I run my finger along one of the vines. A crisp breeze rustles through the bushes under the deck. Sophia bounces happily through the open double doors. I hear her bare feet slap onto the floorboards, and I turn to her. She asks if I feel like a smoke. She holds out an open packet of Dunhill Blues in the original square box, with one of the cigarettes already sticking out of the pack, just far enough for me to be reminded of the little gold leaf lettering that each one bears on its paper. Oh, what the hell, I think. I take the cigarette, and Sophia hands me a Strike Anywhere match, which I flick nonchalantly against the edge of the barrel and quickly pull into my cupped hand to protect it from the wind, a motion which never left the muscle memory. I light up, shake the match out, and place it on the barrel next to my glass. I take a good, deep pull, then suck some air in with it. I hold for an instant, letting my head drift backward to contemplate the taste. And then I slowly blow the growing white plume into the clear, dark sky, watching curiously as it obscures the stars. I wonder, is it only if my life went a certain way, or if I found myself in a certain type of setting that I'd smoke again? How many of those prompts and triggers would it really take to unlock the full force of those old cravings? It might not even take so much. I suppose it could just be something totally banal that winds up pushing that button. Perhaps I'll just be shit-faced on cheap rum at a boring party, and someone will hand me something which I think is a joint, and I'll smoke half of it before I realize that it tastes funny to me because it's nothing more than rolling tobacco. Or maybe I'll break down and accept a drag from a Camel Light as a gesture of consolation at a terribly difficult funeral that I can't yet see coming. It could even work out that I never smoke again at all. It could be my own funeral that pops up on the horizon somewhere between now and my next cigarette. But I honestly don't really mind one way or the other. For now, I'm just sticking to my original plan, which means 5 more years of staying away from North Atlantic oceanfront property, cute South American art students, and top-shelf cherry brandy. I haven't married that photographer yet, but so far she doesn't smoke. And she also doesn't leave me unattended for weeks at a time. Yeah.